Currently not yet. Sorry guys, like there we go. Now we got it. And it should be popping up. There we go. Perfect. Let me go ahead. I have one more group to send this message to. Let me go ahead and send that in real quick, and then we can go ahead and get started with this analysis. And again, I do appreciate y'all for waiting. All right, awesome. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, right? So first and foremost, let me go on into forexfactory.com to check out what the news is going to be throughout the week. This is May 1st, so I am going to be looking at the monthly time frames for a lot of these candles, because you know you got to just look at what the monthly candle close looks like, you know. And for on YouTube, as you guys can tell from the title, like, are we now like really gonna get into the crypto market? I mean, to the bearish crypto market, you know, something that I've been talking about, something like almost the same thing. Why is this coming to Zoom when I wanted Forex Factory? That was weird. My computer's just been acting up like the past 15 minutes. And so I'm trying to get into this Forex Factory, man. Hold on. Okay. Let me just close up that tab. That is interesting why this is not trying to pop up right now. Like, everything else has been solid except for this. And I definitely don't want to do my analysis without looking at the news, but I'm more than fine with doing that. I see, like, that's just weird. But then I'm pretty sure if I go to my FX book, let's see what it looks like. And it's just doing the same. You know what? Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to just look through the charts if it's gonna let me. Wow, my computer is just acting up right now. I was literally just on this. You guys literally just saw me on it. That's funny. Oh man. Let me see what's going on. This is interesting to say the least. Hold on. Let me. Oh, now it wants to pop up. Okay. That's interesting. And then that, of course, is going to pop up. All right. Well, you know, yeah, of course. Just going to go ahead and refresh it. It was working fine just a couple minutes ago. And I don't want to blame it on the update. But this was all working fine just a couple minutes ago. Okay, it's loading up. While that's loading up, let me come over here to see if Forex Factory is going to load up. And if not, then it is what it is. I'm not really in a super rush on this analysis, but I also don't want to just be sitting here and waiting and nothing's happening at the same time, you know? And of course I want to be mindful of you guys on here. And yeah, Forex Factory for some reason is not operating, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do my analysis. If I'm not mistaken, there is going to be, I'll just read it off actually from my phone, but I'm more than certain NFP this week. going over to my pairs, and I'm not gonna go over all my pairs. I'm gonna go over just a certain amount because I do want to keep it. Like I said, I want to keep the time. I want to be mindful of the time. There is a lot of I have to get this on here because there is a lot of news from what I'm seeing. If Forex Factory is not going to do it, then let me try myfxbook.com. But there is definitely a good amount of news that's happening this week, and it's just not okay for it not to be viewed. There we go. Okay. Yeah, you see, whole bunch of news. That's why I'm like, okay, no, let me not skip over this because definitely need to be mindful of the news that's coming out. So Monday, 9 a.m., we have U.S. dollar news, ISM manufacturing PMI. 11:30 p.m., we have Australian dollar with the cash rate and the rate statements. So it's kind of like FOMC when it comes to the U.S. dollar, right? Basically, but this is for the Australian dollar. 9 a.m. Central Standard Time is going to be U.S. dollar news with the JOLTS job openings. Something that sometimes this does affect the market. I've noticed that. It's just nothing that I haven't paid attention to super frequently, but it's something that has happened in the past, right? Going on over to New Zealand dollar, we have the employment change and unemployment rate. So that's basically like NFP for the U.S. dollar, but that's for the NZD. 7:15 a.m. we have the U.S. dollar with ADP non-farm employment change, and then I did not hear that my voice was right there. That's funny, but we have that, and then we have FOMC and the federal funds rate. It's funny how we're having it in the beginning of the month rather than having it in the instead of us having it in towards the middle. Usually FOMC is in the middle, but it's definitely going to be this week. And then the press conference is what you want to watch for. And as you guys can see here, the forecast, they're actually forecasting that there's going to be an interest rate hike, which if there's going to be another interest rate hike up to 1%, that would explain why the dollar is so bullish. But we'll talk about that a little more. So that's something you definitely want to pay attention to Wednesday. I'm glad I looked at the news on my phone before I decided to just do the charts. But you want to watch out for that federal funds rate and the FOMC. So Thursday, 6 a.m., we have GBP news, monetary policy report, bank rate votes, monetary policy summary, and official bank rate. And hey, Najee, by the way, this federal funds rate, that might be what we were talking about on the Telegram channel. I don't know if you're on here or not. Hold on, let me actually take a look and see. Yeah, but what we're talking about on the Telegram channel is probably this has something to do with what we're talking about. So we have 7:30 a.m. Canadian dollar employment change, and then did I send out the notification? Yeah, I did. Okay, cool. So then 7:30 a.m. Canadian dollar employment change, Canadian dollar unemployment rate. And then we have average hourly earnings and non-farm payroll unemployment rates, NFP, at 7:30 a.m. for the U.S. dollar. So, and there looks like there's going to be a decrease in the employment change, right? And then the unemployment rate is going to be going down, which is a good thing for the U.S. right? So we're going to be having a lot of news this week, not only just for the U.S. dollar, but for the other currency pairs, right? And so I'm gonna not necessarily speed past this, but again, I have to look at the monthly time frame, and this is a huge bullish, monthly candle for the U.S. dollar, right? Price has finally broken through this zone after it has failed to break it once on March in 2020, once over here in December of 2020. and the last time that it has been above this zone right here was back in and closed above it, was back over here on in the month of November, back in 2002. So right now the US dollar the DXY is very bullish, and so as of right now I don't want to make any assumptions of what's going to happen. And as I was saying last week with the analysis, I said one of two things is going to happen. Either A, the US dollar or the DXY is just going to keep going bullish, or it's going to retrace a little bit before going bullish. And it just ended up keep going bullish to the upside. And so when I see that, I'm just like, okay, I got to be patient and see what happens, because right now on the daily time frame, we can see on Friday price came down and rejected off of this zone on the daily time frame, and price has closed above this zone 2 days in a row. Personally, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to play anything but the bulls at this point. But personally, if I were to play this, hold on, why is the magnet on? Well, I don't want the magnet on. I mean, personally, I would want from this low of 99.867 to this high of 103.969, because realistically speaking, when I kind of look on this daily time frame, I can see that, or not on the daily time frame, but going to the 4-hour time frame, I can see that there was a possibility, there was a play right here on the DXY that was saying like, hey, this bullish move that happened, price is retracing. Hold on, let me switch this over. Price is retracing down over here to these fibs for a continuation to the upside. Oh, I forgot that drawing mode is not on. There you go. Then a continuation to the upside. So, and as we can see, I mean, price destroyed this fib zone and just continued going bullish. So, but overall, like I said, at this point, I'm kind of seeing that, hey, if there is going to be any kind of play that I'm going to look for on the dollar, until I start to see maybe on the weekly, I mean, I wouldn't even say on the weekly, I would say on the daily time frame, until I start to see some change of structure, which is, I would want to see like this structure get broken before I really start to say, okay, there might start to be a reversal. You know what? Let me even push this over here. So when I'm seeing this, and again, let's like I said, maybe it's due to the interest rate that's coming up, and they're forecasting that it's going to be. This is loud, I think, for everybody. Let me turn that down a little bit. Sorry, but yeah, this interest rate, the federal funds rate, the forecast is that there's going to be a 0.50% increase or so, and so that might be, like I said, what we were talking about on Telegram. That might be the reason why there might be those wells coming into the crypto, into the crypto space. I mean, into Bitcoin, as they have been. But we'll talk about that more in detail as I go on. I think I'm gonna stay on a little longer to talk about Bitcoin and cryptos a little bit today. But at this point in time for the DXY, I just kind of see price, if it's going to retrace, if it is, who knows if it is or isn't, because it's just been so bullish. But if it does retrace, I want to get that retracement and continue going to the upside, unless the daily time frame starts to show me different a different point of view, right? So that's for the DXY. I'm going to go over EU. Is there any pairs that anybody wants me to go over? Because, like I said, I'm not necessarily going to go over all of these. In fact, let me get rid of all that, because I don't necessarily have anything that I'm paying attention to. But if there's any pairs that anybody wants me to go to, you can go ahead and drop them in the chat. Let me actually come over here real quick. Indices, of course, absolutely. That is gonna be for sure. That's a for sure thing always to me. I'm like, them indices, so I'm probably gonna talk about them after I talk about EU. But yeah, just like, and I didn't change the what I have on the side of me here, um, because it's kind of like the market. I still feel the same way how I felt last week. Like, is this gonna be where, like, how high is the DXY gonna go, and how low or where is your USD gonna stop? So on the monthly time frame, this monthly candle is huge. All like this monthly candlestick is huge, and it's like I want to just see an instance where there's been a huge bearish candlestick like this, and price didn't like continue going bearish or something like that. It's like bearish candlestick. I mean, right here, boom, and then the candlestick that came right after it. It wasn't a bearish engulfing, but there was a doji candle right here in the middle, and so I could say maybe, yeah, that for a couple of months, but then price ended up dropping eventually. But there's the pattern that you would have seen for price to potentially fall. But me seeing that the price is this bearish is very difficult for me to go against the bearish trend. It is at this zone still. It is at this zone. I had marked this off when I did an analysis. I believe it was on Thursday that I put this down here. I'm not too certain. It might have been Wednesday. But I was saying that, hey, this is the next level where I'm expecting the Euro USD to come down to before maybe we start to see some type of rejections, right? Let me go ahead and get rid of this previous zone. And the reason why I have this previous zone here is because on the weekly time frame, I said that, hey, this is the next zone that price could potentially stop at, but I'm not going to look for buys because I don't want price to do what it actually did. And I don't want to look for buys at this zone because price can just continue going bullish. But then I don't also want to sell it because what happens if price does end up staying here? So that's why I had that zone there. Let me go ahead and actually delete said zone. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep it. Let me go into the daily time frame real quick. So price is rejecting off of this 1.04900 area basically, or the low was 1.04700. And so yeah, it's kind of the same thing that I'm seeing on the DXY. Like seeing this candlestick right here, all I see is a bearish move to the downside, and I would have loved to see a move like this occur where price, if it is going to reject off of this 1.04900 zone right here, retrace back up to 1.8000 basically before looking for some short opportunities or to like sell Euro USD. That's basically all I'm seeing right here right now. And I want to go over to the DXY just to show how it's the inverse, right? It's the inverse play that I'm looking at for both of these plays. So Euro USD, same thing. I wanted to come back down to 101, and then go bullish, and Euro USD to do the same. And it's just based off of the monthly time frame and the monthly, daily, and weekly time frame. Let me not lie to anybody, right? Going on over to arbitrage real quick. Wait, hold on. Does somebody have something to say before I continue? I feel like somebody's mic is on. Trey, do you have anything to say? I think your mic is on. It's all good. Don't even worry about it. Here, let me actually go ahead and mute participants upon entry. Okay, so getting back to it. On over to the DXY, weekly time frame, extremely bullish. Same thing as it was last week, right? Going on to the monthly time frame, same thing, extremely bullish. It's actually called for a buy, but I would not get into a buy just like off of a candlestick like that ever. 4-hour time frame, there's really no opportunities for a sell as of yet, although the RSI line is inside of the upper danger zone. So that's something that, hey, that could be a potential sign for us to maybe start looking for some long-term sell opportunities into that fib zone that I was talking about. You know, if I just split it open right here, like price pushing down this 4-hour time frame, if it calls for a sell, it'll probably more than likely come down over here to 101 or 100.686. You know, and that's something that we're looking for if we're going to be looking for a move to the upside. So go back over here, sorry. Going on over to the 1-hour time frame, you know, price has already called for a sell, but unfortunately has not retested this RSI line. And I'm okay, I'm more than fine with waiting to see if price will retrace. You know, looking at the lower time frames, there could be a possibility for a lower time frame sell. You know, 2-hour time frame is calling for a sell on arbitrage, but price is not underneath the RSI line, and the momentum line isn't even over here to confirm it. You know, this candle hasn't even printed yet, and it has an hour and 30 minutes left to print. So don't want to try to get into the DXY too early. I'm going to give it some time. And I'm pretty sure Euro USD looks the inverse of the DXY. You know, 2-hour time frame, yep, same thing. 1 hour and 30 minutes basically until this candle prints out and price is not above the RSI line. You know, weekly time frame, very much bearish candlestick. I'm pretty sure the monthly candle was just called for a sell. Yep, but I would not get into that. No sir. Daily time frame, very much bearish. It has been for a while now. 4-hour time frame. Yes, it's 4-hour time frame doesn't look quite the same because the RSI line is still kind of outside of the lower danger zone here, but still, you know, the safest move would be wait for the breakout of that RSI line retracement and then a continuation to try to see if you get into a sell opportunity for this retracement of a move, which lines up perfectly. Right, so that's basically what I'm looking at for EU and the DXY. I'll talk about USHF a little later. Let me go over gold real quick because gold was something that we were looking at last week. I actually want to see what I had written down. I did not look at gold at all last week, to be quite honest with everybody. So take off all of those drawings, looking at the monthly time frame. I don't like seeing this large wick to the upside and then another bearish candle with a large wick to the upside as well. That's showing me that it's showing me that this is more of a bearish. It's starting to turn into a bearish market. It looks like a evening star pattern to me. You have a shooting star right here and then a bearish engulfing candle because this candle is engulfing this previous one. So when I start seeing that, I'm like, okay, on the low, on the time frames lower than the weekly, let me say that. My bad, I was responding to my kid. But yeah, on the weekly time frame, same thing. I'm seeing this bearish engulfing candle against this candle, and then I was saying that, hey, I'm actually surprised that gold dropped down this low, but I was saying that, hey, if just seeing this, price could potentially push to the downside a little lower. So going on to putting my drawings back on, oops, let's see what I have. So there's this zone that price has been rejecting off of that I had marked up, and it's still, you know, price had came down and closed underneath of it. Oh my goodness, this daily candlestick rejecting off of that 50 EMA. It's very interesting to see that. So I want to see what the 4-hour looks like. Yeah, so I was saying that until price breaks above this zone, and I did this on Thursday, I believe. until price breaks above this zone, that I can't really say that this is a bearish. I can't get into a buy comfortably. And it's funny how price actually came up to this zone, rejected off of the daily and the 4-hour 50 EMA, and it looks like it wants to push to the downside. So let me go ahead and delete all this stuff right here. In fact, let me just clear off my chart, remove drawings. I'm going back on over to the daily time frame real quick. Me seeing this right here is very alarming, but at the same time, it could be that, hey, price wants to just come back and chase this wick, because gold does have the it does that every now and again, where it would literally just push up over, back up to where that wick is, and then continue going bullish, right? But when I look at that long wick to the downside on the daily, I'm like, ooh, that's kind of iffy. But overall, I mean, at this point, I kind of do want to see this retracement on the 4-hour time frame. I mean, I was even gonna say that I want to see this kind of retracement on the daily time frame. I did say I want to see this. I would want to see this type of retracement, but I actually am more interested in the 4-hour than that. But then again, if once I see the 4-hour, I'm gonna have to be like, okay, what's the market looking like? What's the market doing? Is the market in a suitable position for me to try to get into a sell? Because as of right now, what I'm kind of seeing here is, hey, on the lower time frames, and I mean lower time frames as lower than the monthly time frame, right now this just looks like price has just grab some liquidity to the downside of this zone, even if you want to take this zone as low as down over here, or if you want to make it as wide as this, you know, it just looks like on the weekly time frame, hey, price is just rejecting off of this zone. That's a very solid zone to begin with, number one. Number two, daily time frame, it just looks like, again, the same thing. And although price didn't close, this candlestick didn't close and it rejected off of the 50 EMA, that's still something that on the 4-hour time frame is like, price was pretty bullish to that upside. And this was, regardless of what I believe or not, this was the previous lower high of this downtrend move this downtrend move. I don't want to include all that over there. So one thing that I'm going to be watching for on gold this week is maybe there's going to be a potential short-term bullish opportunity where we could see the likes of price coming down over to the 71% or 78.6 Fibonacci of this bullish move over here at, like, I would say 1886, 1882 before going bullish. So that's something I'm going to be watching for on gold. And again, it's going to be more of a 1-hour time frame move. I wouldn't necessarily look for a long-term sell buy yet, because I mean, again, price could just easily continue pushing to the downside. So we'll see what happens when price gets there. I'm gonna set an alert at 1890.646 or whatever it's at. Set an alert there, and we'll see what happens. Okay, going over to arbitrage real quick. Was this a trade opportunity that I was looking at last week? Yes, it was. Took the L on that, and it's all a G. Wait, was it? No, I don't think I got into it. I'm having a hard time recollecting, but I believe EG was the only thing I called. But anyways, yeah, let me not even worry about it. So I'll go look at my trading records. But yeah, weekly time frame, gold is pretty bullish over here. It's rejecting off of this compass line, and it has rejected off of this upper danger zone. So it could, again, it could just be like I use this upper danger zone as a support and a resistance. You know, support when price is above, resistance when price is underneath. And so that's something that I want to pay attention to. Daily time frame has called for a sell and has been bearish, so that's also something I definitely want to pay attention to, because now it just looks like price has rejected off of this mean line and it can continue going to the downside. Now the only thing that is making me a little iffy about that is because price is the little pro is like pointing to the upside, as well as how the arbitrage Z price is just holding at that little ground zero. So gonna be paying attention to that as well. 4-hour time frame. Oops. 4-hour time frame still has some ways to go before it looks to call for a buy opportunity. So it's probably gonna end up doing this before trying to go bullish, but we'll see what goes on with that. And 1-hour time frame, it looks like this price is gonna just push to the downside. So again, I'm gonna wait to see what this setup looks like more than what RB would have looked like, but I'm still gonna take into consideration what arbitrage has to say about what happens when I get over here. Okay, let's go on over to the indices, whichever way you like to say it. Okay, so I'm gonna go over S&P, and man, starting off the week tough, huh, already. So monthly time frame, let's look at what the damage is. Yeah, that's a pretty scary bearish candle, and that just makes me feel like price is just not even going to retrace. It's just going to keep going to the downside, to be quite honest with you guys. That's what that looks like to me. Going on to the weekly time frame, yeah, three black crows basically. Price pushing to the downside is what I'm looking at, but I do know that there is this zone that price is at, and just because of how obvious this zone is what makes me believe that price is going to continue to the downside. Because how many other traders are going to be aware of this zone right here? Or you know what, I'll even make it wider. I'll make it wider just because it's a weekly zone. How about that? Give this zone some respect. But you know, just the way how the price action has been, you know, even the daily time frame, bearish engulfing candle right here after this candle, like it just looks so bearish to me. You know, 4-hour time frame, I was seeing an opportunity selling the US 30 and S&P. I'm not too sure it would have played out so nicely with, I mean not S&P, with US 30 and NASDAQ, but it would not have played out so nicely with the S&P right here, unless no, I would not play that. I would have more than likely played this. But you know, prices looks like it looks like price is just gonna keep pushing to the downside, even from how the market closed. It doesn't look that great, you know. Going on over to, I'll look at arbitrage a little bit. Going on over to Dow Jones as well, same thing, you know. Let me actually, because it's currently actually in the zone where it's like, hey, this is a buying area, and I feel like the cryptos are going to be the same thing. But you know, this is what I was talking about, that there was a selling opportunity that I was paying attention to, but I didn't play it. You know, it was just I didn't play it. But from these highs to this low, price came to this low, retraced, rejected off of the 50 EMA on the 4-hour, and I believe on the daily. No, only on the 4-hour, and then it pushed and is now making the lower lows on the 4-hour time frame. You know, from where I would have got in to where it's at currently, that's 864 points, and I would have looked to have taken my final profits down over here. But it's all good, right? So that's why I'm just like, it's interesting, because now that price is pushed down to those lows, when I go on over to the weekly time frame, I mean, of course, there's this zone right here that we have to be mindful of, but Where is it? There you go. Let me go on to the daily actually. Going on to the daily time frame, this is probably, and it's probably, I'm probably gonna say the same thing to the cryptos because the stock market and Bitcoin and Ethereum have been moving very similarly as of late, but this is probably the only area where I would tell anybody to look for buying opportunities. I mean, it's at a very nice price for if price is gonna go bullish, right? Right at that 78.6 Fibonacci level. It's just the way how price pushed to the downside and the way how the daily candlestick, the weekly candlesticks for the past couple of weeks, and the monthly candlestick is looking, that makes me not want to. I'm being brutally honest. Those are huge signs. Unless on the, let me look on the 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame, this is not a good sign for me to look for buys. 1-hour time frames, this is not look good for me to buy. 30-minute time frame, hold on. 15-minute time frame might be, no, even the 15-minute time frame, because you know what I see on the 15-minute time frame? From this high to this low, look where price portrays down to. Right off of the 78.6, and then it just now, it just looks like it's gonna keep pushing to the downside to me. So that's why I'm like, no, you know, for me personally, I'm good. I'm more than fine with staying off of the market for now, and you know, maybe even exactly like this is what I saw, like from like on the 15-minute time frame, I saw this move, and it just looks so clean. If this would have broken through this structure on the 5-minute time frame, then maybe I would have said something differently about trying to get into a trade, you know. And I won't be surprised if this, from this low to this high, I won't be surprised if this comes over to the 78.6 and then does a 1-to-1 retracement. I wouldn't be surprised on the 5-minute time frame. However, it's just the higher time frames are way too brutal looking to make me want to. If it was just like an investment where I'm like, I'm gonna invest and it's good, I'll see what it looks like in a couple of months, maybe, because those are the type of prices that, I mean, for the stock market, there's actually a lot of good opportunities that Peyton was showing me throughout last week that are in the stock market, quite honestly. But the way how prices have just dropped is just scary. It's just so volatile, you know. For me to risk getting into a buy like how I have right here, I would be much more down if price broke through this structure first. But ultimately, it's this structure that would break, that would make me feel even more safer to get into any type of buy opportunities. But I mean, if you have a buy bias on the US indices, I'm not gonna lie to you, now is like the perfect time to buy it. That's if your bias is selling it though. But again, the way just how the market structure looks, that's scary, man. That's scary. That's a scary look in my opinion. Waiting for better price action and like waiting for better daily candlesticks rather than this, it would be much. If you were asking me this question a year ago, I would have said, oh yeah, let's get into a buy. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's just I'd rather wait. I'd rather honestly wait for even the 5-minute structure to change before I start to even switch my bias to a buy, even though price is currently and I talked about this last week, right? I talked about it on the weekly analysis, right? This is, you know, if price stops up here, this is where I want to see price come down to, and then I would decide if I want to trade it or not. But again, it's the way how price came down. It's like, no, not for me. And also, price never broke through this. If I go into the daily time frame, realistically speaking, price never did break through this zone right here. This is the previous lower high before price came and made a lower low. So even on the daily time frame, it's like the structure is changing. So again, it's like there's so many confluences that are going against the buy for now. Going on to the NASDAQ real quick before, let me see. I don't know how long I've been recording on this, but it's all right. It's fine. Let me just go ahead and do my thing. Oops, I'll go over arbitrage shortly. And even on the NASDAQ, same thing. This is the other place I was talking about. You know, I was looking for the sell opportunities here. Just didn't take it. Got in my own head. It happens to the best of us. Just got to brush it off and keep it going. But yeah, price ended up pushing to the downside. It hasn't broken through this previous lower low here. But from the way how it looks on the 4-hour, and let's all go on over to the monthly real quick. And the way how it looks on this monthly, okay, the monthly's definitely made new lows. So again, that's something that I'm like, and it's a lot of tech stocks. A lot of tech stocks have been doing pretty bad. Like the reports that have been coming out haven't been in favor for these companies. And when we're seeing the US dollar climb to these highs that we haven't seen in a while, it's more than likely that the companies are going to suffer because of that, right? So weekly time frame, same thing. Past 4 weeks, the price has just been bearish. Price has made new lows on the weekly and the monthly time frame. You know, daily time frame, it just has to break through this previous this previous bearish engulfing candle. But again, the signs are pointing to, hey, these are going to continue going bearish. I don't like to see the signs like that and me like, let me go ahead and try to get into a buy. You know, of course, yeah, you got to risk it for the biscuit, but this isn't a biscuit that I'm trying to risk right now, quite honestly. If I see some better price action later on, then maybe that's different. And let me go on over to arbitrage, which is back up my statement, I'm pretty sure. So NASDAQ, going on over to the monthly time frame. The monthly is setting up for a sell. First of all, I don't know if I've seen anything that has been setting up on the monthly time frame, but dang, that actually looks pretty good for a sell. Weekly time frame, price had told us weeks ago to sell over here after the retracement back up here. Even though I was still wary about it, I was like, hey, this is still rejecting off of here, so if price continues to push down, we shouldn't be surprised. And it has done that within the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, right? Daily time frame, bearish. I mean, I would not have gone into this sell, but price has been bearish. You know, 4-hour time frame, it tried to call for a sell. It tried to call for a buy, but it couldn't break above this RSI line, so still continued to look bearish. Everything is bearish on here. So again, it's like trying to go up against this right now, it's not that wise, right? Going over to Dow Jones real quick for arbitrage, same thing. I want to look at the monthly time frame. Monthly time frame is not yet setting up for a sell, so that is a good sign. Weekly time frame, caught for that sell over there, pushed down, retraced, rejected off of the RSI line, and then continue pushing to the downside. Right now, currently rejecting off of this lower danger zone down here. So that's something that we could pay attention to. But I mean, I wrote this 2 weeks ago that I think price is going to keep pushing to the downside. And that's tough. Yeah, that's tough right there to see. But yeah, everything over here is pointing to the downside as well. So it's, again, like, although the Dow Jones is the only one that I would say is the one that I would look for buying opportunities, because I wouldn't try it on the S&P or the NASDAQ. They all look bearish. Like, they're all very bearish, and trying to buy them right now is it's kind of premature at this point. So yeah, S&P, same thing, came and retraced back up here on the weekly time frame after it called for a sell over here. Although it did a break and retest over here. Dang, arbitrage is, like, when it comes to the S&P, the weekly arbitrage, like, murdered it. I'm not gonna lie. Absolutely murdered it. but it's not setting up quite yet on the monthly time frame. So that's something we're going to be paying attention to. Dow Jones, again, I'll be paying attention to it throughout the next couple of days, or a couple hours to a couple of days, to see what it looks like. But it just looks like it's going to continue falling. All right. The Bitcoin. Let's talk about the Bitcoin and how there was a selling opportunity. The same thing as with the U.S. indices, that I was looking for a sell opportunity right here, and I just didn't take it. Like, I wasn't mentally prepared to trade that much last week, to be quite honest with everybody. But, you know, with that being said, let me go ahead and close this off. And, you know, price is in a bearish downtrend. It would have to break over here for me to feel confident about, you know, hey, there might be, now we can start to say that there might be some bullish price action that some bullish price action that would make me feel like price is going to go up to 56K. But going on to the monthly time frame, let me go ahead and get rid of this fib actually real quick. Looking at this monthly time frame, it's not that, is again an engulfing bearish candle. You know, these couple of the months prior to that, it was very bearish and the price consolidated, but then we have the bearish engulfing candle up against this candle right here, and this candle, because it did engulf this candle as well. You know, over here on the weekly time frame, this just looks like a morning star pattern. I feel like I've been saying that for the past 2 weeks now, that this is not a good sign for the bulls with that weekly move. And the last week's move, this is last week's move, and it's about to close in in a minute and 10 seconds. So again, when I'm seeing that, I'm not that enticed to say that price is going to go bullish. However, I do know from this low of 34K to this high, price is still rejecting at this zone. Price is still rejecting at this possible area where it can go bullish. Daily time frame though, when I'm looking at it, same thing. It's not that appealing. The daily time frame is not that, like, yes, I see this bearish candle, and then I see the rebound on there, but it's not engulfing this bearish candlestick. So I'm just like, you were almost there, Bitcoin. You were almost there, but the way how this monthly candle is looking, because the day is about to change, so it had a 2.25% increase today. But yeah, this monthly candle, well, this is May 1st, but yeah, this monthly candle is it's not appealing to me. You know, weekly candlestick, that's how it closed. Again, it's not that great looking to me, because I mean, realistically speaking, this candle did engulf this previous candle close, because this was just all wick basically. So we're gonna just have to see what happens with Bitcoin. For me personally, like I said, it's at a great area to buy, you know. Compared to this low, it just looks like, hey, that this is just, it took out these lows and it might be going bullish, and there might even be, you know, we might have to see what this is going to look like right here. But this could be a potential breakout that if we see, then I'd be like, okay, maybe we can look for a buying opportunity. But again, this is really the zone up here that I would want to see before I start to say that, okay, Bitcoin, now I'm gonna start to switch my bias more towards the bulls than the bears. But as of right now, especially with how this 4 hour price dropped, retraced, and then it continued pushing to the downside, making lower lows, because it did make a lower low. That's tough for me. That's tough for me to want to try to buy it, you know. Even right here, even right now on the 1 hour time frame, right? Price hasn't broken through this structure here quite yet, which is where I would be like, okay, now I could probably start to look for moves after price has gone bullish for the retracement. But of course, if price breaks out of here, then it's gonna come and hit this trend line right here. So when it comes to Bitcoin, you know, it's kind of, again, it's in a tough situation. It's not in a situation that looks to me that is going to go overly well. But again, if you're a swing trader, I mean, not again, but if you're a swing trader, then hey, this is something that you might be looking at, because if you would have gotten in, well, you wouldn't have been able to get in down at 37,000 because price didn't hold there. But, and it's like how I talked about, I think I talked about it on Wednesday, but I didn't necessarily care for how price didn't close above 40K. Like, it came back up to 40,000 and it rejected off of that 40,000 area and went bearish really hard. Like, that wasn't a good sign for me as well in the short term. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna have to really see some price action changes in order for me to feel differently about Bitcoin. But I mean, this bearish move, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. I'm not really feeling this buy like that. As much as I would love to try to call for a buy, I'm not feeling the buy like that. Because I could argue that the way our price came up here is kind of the similar way our price came down back. You know what I'm saying? I could argue that. You know, new day, we'll see what the percentage change looks like, but it's not at a good area for me to look for buys yet. Although yes, arbitrage on the 1 hour time frame, it did call for a buy opportunity 2 hours ago. It definitely did call for that, but let me see what the 4 hour looks like. 4 hours still very much bearish. Price is at the lower danger zone, so that means price is underneath of it. That means it's using this as a resistance. Level Pro is above ground zero, but the arbitrage Z isn't. So again, kind of have to wait. Daily time frame, pretty bearish. Retrace back up to the RSI line, almost hit it, but then push back down. Weekly time frame, at the lower danger zone, it's above it, so it's using it as resistance. But once this breaks, price is gonna keep. Once this breaks, price is gonna come down over to 28K easily, you know, and then unfortunately, that's when this analysis over here that I talked. Well, not unfortunately, because I personally, like, if this market drops, I personally will. I wouldn't be happy per se because there would be people losing money, but I'm gonna be happy because it's gonna be able to give an opportunity for those who didn't know about crypto or anything like that. It's gonna give them the opportunity to be able to feel how people felt when they bought down here, probably at 29K, and price came up to 68K. So they can be able to feel how those who bought down over here at 4,500 felt when price came up to 64K, you know, so they could be able to feel those type of gains, you know, and that's the opportunity that cryptocurrency as a whole can bring to us. Because even though this Bitcoin in particular has been bearish, I know that there's been cryptos out there that have been doing numbers. So let me get rid of that because I already have it drawn out over here. I have a lot drawn out on this chart apparently. But this is one of the oldest fibs. Dang, I have a lot drawn on Bitcoin. But anyways, you know, if price does end up dropping below this 32K area, I do have a feeling that we're going to be seeing the likes of 28K, 22K, 17K even, probably 10K even, because there is, no matter what way we look at it, there is a lot of volume sitting down over here at 10K, and there's not that much volume sitting up over here. So that means there is a whole bunch of people who have money sitting down over here at 10,000 versus how many people have money sitting over here at 17K or 20K. But nonetheless, my personal opinion would be dollar cost average. Because personally, with Bitcoin, buying anything under $40,000 in the grand scheme of things, because it's just depending on your perspective. But no matter what way we look at it, from the beginning of when crypto started, it's seriously bullish. It's ridiculously bullish. From when it has started, Bitcoin personally, it's extremely bullish. And it's in a major uptrend when you're looking at the grand scheme of things. But then when you're looking at the next couple of months, it looks like it's bearish, right? When you're looking at the next, maybe even possible year, it still might look like, I mean, I want to see what the one, not applicable, never mind. Yes, it is. Right there, there you go. Oh, no, it's not. Wow, okay. Never mind, I take that back. So 1 year isn't applicable. So, but anyways, yeah, you know, prices coming down over here while the masses are going to be panicking if and when, I like to say if and when price gets down over here. That's where we would be able to educate you guys and say, hey, right down over here at these prices, this is where you want to put the bulk of your investment. Even buying up, like let's say if you buy Bitcoin, the Bitcoin itself, even if you buy it at these prices at 38,000, as much as I feel like, yeah, these are still good prices for that, for the grand scheme of things, putting majority of your investment at these prices down here inside this zone would be that much better, let alone if price comes down to 10,000. You know, it's always just all about preparation. We can hope for the best and say, yes, prices, we want to see them go bullish, because that's how I do feel. I want to see them go bullish before it does eventually drop. But I want to be able to say that, hey, if it does end up dropping, then that's going to be an opportunity for us to set ourselves up for the next bull run, because it does run in cycles. Like these cryptos do run in cycles. So enough of Bitcoin. Ethereum, same jazz, basically. Going on over to the 4 hour real quick. This bullish move that I had talked about, it did not play out, and I definitely didn't even play it at all. Nor did I play this bearish move right here that ended up playing out very nicely. I didn't play that either. I didn't play neither of those. But nonetheless, like I said, Ethereum is basically the same thing as what I was talking about with Bitcoin. It's just different prices. But if price does end up breaking through this zone right here, then again, looking down at these, I don't know why this moved, but okay. But looking at this area of these prices, those would be amazing investments if price does come down to this area, let alone if it comes down to where the majority of the volume is. And if you see where the volume is, you're going to be a little scared. A lot of volume in Ethereum is down over here in this $100-$200 area. That's kind of scary. But if you just look at history and what is done for cryptos in the past, and even if price has come all the way up here and it comes back all the way down here, again, that's just going to be an opportunity of that'll be an opportunity of a lifetime. If price does end up coming back down to those levels, like realistically. If price comes down over here, I'm buying a whole lot of Ethereum. And a lot of people are saying I'm crazy for it. No, absolutely, absolutely. Thanks for hopping on. So yeah, that's for Ethereum. I'm gonna go over some GBPs real quick. I thought I was gonna dive deep into this, but I don't necessarily need to, because for those who have watched a lot of my analysis, you guys know that, you know, I'm always looking at both ends of the coin, and once I have my bias, it's kind of hard for me to get unstuck by that until I see some good price action, which we might be seeing on Bitcoin. So let me go over some GV pairs real quick. Oh, wait, did I look at arbitrage? I feel like I did. Yes, I did. I did go over arbitrage on Bitcoin. Let me see on Ethereum. Man, price rejected off of that RSI line 4 weeks ago and has been doing the dash downside ever since. Monthly time frame, I'm pretty sure on Ethereum is nowhere near yet. Needs more data actually. Daily time frame, been very bearish. Oh man, this was an opportunity I slipped on hardcore. But yeah, 4 hour time frame. 4 hour time frame, very much not looking terrible. And then a 1 hour time frame, it called for a buy. This is actually, oh no, called it right here. It's going. It looks like it's going to the upside. So we'll see what happens with the cryptos. You know, I'm gonna keep a close eye on them in this week for possible opportunities. And last but not least, I think I just want to take a look, not really at GU, because I mean GU has just been so bearish, and I said, hey, 61.8 is an area to look at, but other than that, I mean down over here at this zone is an area to look at, but other than that, it's just been so bearish. Don't really want to take a look at that. GBP JPY. It would have been a play that I would have been scary, or I would have been scared to play, but it did end up doing some pretty good moves. But again, GJ has just been so bullish. I don't necessarily want to look at this right now, except unless it comes back up to 166.191, then I might be looking for a bearish opportunity. But I moreover want to look at EG. Want to take a look at EG a little bit, because, you know, I've been saying that, hey, for a bullish move, I do want to see price break through this zone. But however, I try to get into a sell opportunity, and I think I still have it up here. Yeah, it was an arbitrage sell opportunity, and I ended up taking a watch. I'll even show you guys. Ended up taking a loss for it. Called the sell right here, and then I said, hey, let's get into a sell. Price ended up hitting stop loss minus 27 pips. Then price ended up coming down to hit TP1 before going back up again to, it's just been consolidating, right? But I want to see, I don't know why I got to the 1 hour. I wanted the 4 hour. But, you know, there was this play right here that I was looking at, and I was like, hey, this can be the potential sell that I was looking for over here at the 71%, but price just ended up going up a little too high, which is then where I'm like, hey, I should have just moved I just should have had a stop loss up here before pushing to the downside. But EG currently looks like that is pushing lower over here, and I'm like, hey, overall, you know, this an opportunity might be here to sell EG, but it would have to, I mean, to buy EG, but if I do buy it, it'd be down over here, and that's just, it's pretty damn low, quite honestly. 4 hour time frame, though, this Fibonacci, if price does end up pushing to the downside, then it'll get indeed to where I'll be looking at for a possible long-term buy opportunity. So we'll see what EG holds, but it looks to me as if it's going to push to the downside more. That's what it looks like it's doing right now, actually, as we're speaking. Yeah, it's pushing to the downside. So looking over at arbitrage, let me see what the 4 hour looks like. Excellent. It's calling for a sell. Dang, this is really about to play out after stopping me out. Well, it would have stopped me out twice, but what I kind of, not even kind of, what I would really want to see on arbitrage is for price to retrace back up after breaking this zone that it just did, before then pushing to the downside. So that's something that I'm going to be watching for throughout the week on EG. I do like this bearish play. But other than that, you know, does anybody have any, I mean the weekly time frame, I know I this is the one thing that I hate seeing on arbitrage, is that, hey, the weekly time frame, it closed just like that. You know, monthly time frame though looks promising. The monthly time frame looks promising, so that's the reason why I'm like, hey, there might be a possibility for a buying moves, but we'll see what goes down. I'd want to see what this 4 hour does for a short term, or not even a short term, but it'd be a swing sell. It'll take a couple of days if it does sell off, but we'll see how price gets down here before I'll look for a buying play. So, but is there anybody that has any pairs that they want me to take a look at? Any questions, any comments, or any concerns before I hop off? Nope, nothing at all. Let me see what YouTube has to say real quick. Nothing. All right. Well, if that's the case, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get going, and I will be keeping you guys posted on what I'm looking at. With that being said, thanks for hopping on. I do appreciate it, and let's see what this week brings us.